Hello again, everybody, and welcome to our first Hollywood Memories of 2025. I'm Dan Roberts, the publisher of The Vegas Voice, and I have the wonderful pleasure of sitting with and co-hosting with my favorite columnist and the other woman in my life, which is Beverly Washburn.
Thank you, Dan, for that wonderful introduction.
We do that every time, don't we?
I know.
You know what, Beverly, we have done so many videos in your life. And what I did not know, and we're going to discuss it today, is that when Google says you're worth $8.4 million, it really is. And we have the paperwork to show for it, don't we?
They just need to move the decimal over.
I guess.
Yeah, that's it.
But you know what I didn't know after all these years with Beverly is that not only is she a national treasure, she is also an international treasure and a star. And we have all the paperwork to prove it. And that is all the residuals you receive.
I know. It's a crazy thing because I'm sure you all know that when you do a show, a TV show, and then they replay it the second time, you get what's called a residual. But residuals didn't come into play until like the 60s. I think it was actually 1960. So when you see all these old shows on, like Antenna and MeTV and all the old retro TV stations, and they're showing TV shows from the 50s, none of us get paid for that. So yeah, because they didn't have to do that until a show, because most of the shows that I did were in the mid 50s.
Right.
So, but I did some, later on. So I do get residuals.
And what you do, and you get it from literally around the world. And I'm just going to look at one of these things here. This must be a typo because it says in Germany, you received it for a Murder, She Wrote TV show that you did. You got close to, is that 82 cents?
82 cents, yes.
And
I did.
How do they even arrive at these numbers?
I don't know. It's the craziest thing because when you get a typical residual from a TV show, it comes on a white paper and everything is itemized. But if it's a foreign residual, it's on a pink sheet. So then you know it's foreign, and they list everything.
And I'm looking at all these different shows that you did. Star Trek, of course, and you made $1.44.
I know, and I try not to spend it all in the same place.
And I'm looking at the pilot for Las Vegas, $1.12, and I got to tell you, my favorite is that you did a Murder, She Wrote, right? And you got close to 34 cents.
I know. I also got a residual for 1 penny.
1 penny.
I know. I framed it actually because I thought, am I supposed to go into the bank with a straight face and ask them to deposit it into my account or to cash it? So it's the craziest thing. So what they do is, and we have all the different countries. We've got Germany.
I got Germany. I got Spain. I have Switzerland,
Portugal, Sweden.
Yeah. You even got one in Colombia.
Yeah. Colombia,
I didn't realize you spoke Spanish.
I know. They dub in our voices in their language. But it's the oddest thing because I have no idea who keeps track of this. Because what they do is, like, if you can see all this, they're itemized.
Right.
And they'll show each individual show, the name of the show, the amount. But then what they do is they send you one check. And they total it all up. And there was one of these foreign residuals that I got last year. There were 37 shows that I was getting a residual for, and it was all itemized. And when I totaled it up and I got one check, it was for $10.97.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So people think that child actors make a lot of money, but it's not true because back in the day, the typical amount that we would make that was very common was $250 a week.
Okay.
But I mean, it's all relative because back then you could get a quart of milk for 18 cents and
like
a loaf of bread. But still, even if you were to save every penny, if you're making $250 and you did 25 shows, that's not a lot to have later on. Where kids today in these shows, they'll make like $1 million.
It's a whole different world.
It is a different world.
But are you shocked that when you get these checks, it strikes me as saying it's like an early Christmas present, but you can't even buy a pair of socks with it.
No, I know. Not even a pack of gum.
Not even a pack of gum, for goodness sakes. But when you get this, are you more surprised over the amount of money, Or, oh, I didn't know I was in Germany, or I was in Spain, or I was in Colombia.
I know. And like the Netherlands. I
Right.
mean, who would have ever thought? And it's crazy because we have no way of knowing that. It's not like we're going to call them up and say, you owe me money because you showed my film in, Switzerland.
I mean, you might be in a show in, let's say, in Sweden, 2:00 in the morning, and they could rip you off, and you would never know.
I know, we have no way of knowing. So I guess they're on the honor system, but I mean, it's all legal stuff. So somebody, is paid to keep track of all this. I don't know how they do it, how they can possibly, because I'm just like one actor,
right?
In the show, they have to do it for every actor that has dialogue.
Well, is it that, or is it that they have to sign a certain contract that says that they get paid with residuals, or is that an automatic thing?
No, it's
now?
automatic now. I mean, that didn't come into play until the 60s. And so, as I said, I did a few shows like Star Trek and some that I still get residuals for. But for the child stars that were in, Father Knows Best, Leave It to Be, nobody got
and one example you said was your friend Sharon. In the
Mickey Mouse Club.
Mickey Mouse Club. And, I mean, she was the star, one of the stars.
Exactly, absolutely.
And she received how much in residuals?
You don't get, that was, a show was done in the 50s. So there you go. So people are under the misconception that we all have all this money. And then on the internet, at one point it said I was worth 19 million.
They had you so rich.
I know.
I was wondering, why am I buying you lunch? But again, I mean, and I guess they base it on this, or your net worth or anything.
I don't know where but the people that post things like that online, I don't know where they get their information, because they wouldn't have access. Well, even if they did.
Even if they did.
How much did this total?
It's $17.
$17. There you go.
But I mean, I'm looking at this and I see
it's hilarious.
I mean, you did a TV episode of Mrs. King.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 cents for one.
I know it. It was.
Did you ever think of throwing it back? What are you going to do with 2 cents?
It makes me laugh, really.
Yeah.
It does, because that's a lot of work for somebody to go through, to have this all.
And wait, and they mail it to you, so the stamp is probably worth more than a check.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the craziest thing that people don't realize. And that's why we wanted to do this segment, because, a lot of people know that we do get regular residuals, which are typically more. But
you hope. You hope.
Right.
Yeah.
But we also get foreign residuals, which is interesting.
To say the least. And like I said, when you get one of these checks, you open it up and say, "Oh my God, I'm rich, and unfortunately, it's $12.01."
I know. I think it's comical.
And then you got and they still haven't withdrew taxes, so you got to pay tax on that.
Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of funny to me that why do they even do that? It doesn't, because it's not like we're going to call up Screen Actors Guild and go, "Hey, you owe me 14 cents."
But you wouldn't even know.
Oh, we wouldn't know.
So you have no idea when these shows aired.
No, especially like in places like, the Netherlands.
I'm looking at Germany, Spain, Switzerland.
Yeah.
They love you in Germany on this check here. And you got it's just incredible. You got Switzerland, Sweden.
Yeah, Spain. Here's Spain and Denmark.
So you don't even know where Sweden is if you look on a map, but yet you got close to 82 cents from them.
I know it. If you need me to spot you alone.
I'll tell you. Well, no, you're buying lunch from now on. I'll tell you that right now. There's a 2-for-1 special someplace.
It's crazy.
But all in all, and we laugh at this and we joke about it, but it's just a remarkable career you've had that you really can tell people, yes, I've been in the United States, but literally you're all over the world.
It's amazing. Well, remember some of those letters that we got?
Yeah.
One was from, was it Slovakia or Slovenia?
There were countries we couldn't even pronounce. But it is just remarkable that you've had such a career like this.
Thank you. Well, I'm very blessed, and I feel very fortunate. I mean, we joke about it because it is kind of funny to get like a.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terribly funny, isn't
but
it?
But still, I'm grateful. It makes it all fun.
And it just shows you how lucky I am that you still put up with me. But I'll tell you, well, I don't pay that much, 4 cents, but at least you have something coming in, right? Something along those lines. So anyway, this is Dan Roberts with Beverly Washburn. I hope to be back next time. We don't know when we get off camera. And again, I thank you so much for putting up with me.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everybody, too. For
And this is Dan Roberts for Hollywood Memories saying we'll see you again next time. Thank you, Beverly.
Thank you.
Where are we going for lunch?